Now, this is the 94th Annual Academy Awards. 94 times they've been bringing us this magic. And when they go through the years and they show the different parts, with Halle Berry or the woman who said you like me, you really like me. They always show the same 10 clips, right? Matt Damon and his buddy being jerking off on each other. They're gonna have to add the slap now because otherwise you seem silly. I mean, all of a sudden the greatest moment isn't Adele Dazeem. It's this slap heard around the world.
Oh my God!
Which, by the way,
can I describe it when it's time? Can I please? Because I love it now. I couldn't even. Okay. Chris Rock was hosting. Yes.
Chris Rock was presenting.
Excuse me.
An award.
Please don't cancel me for the incorrect language that I used. Okay.
He kind of dismissed 3 women, but go ahead.
Okay. Well,
one of them was gay.
Oh no. This is like the only part I saw. So I saw Chris Rock was on the mic and he was telling a joke or two.
Yeah.
He turned to Jada Pinkett Smith and said, I see G.I. Jane, some kind of joke about G.I. Jane because she's bald right now.
Right.
They put the camera on Jada and Will Smith and Will is laughing and Jada's like, you motherfucker. Like she's just not having it. Right. They turned back to Chris and Will Smith is walking up to the podium. Chris has his hands behind his back, you might note, as a very relaxed, whatever's about to happen is cool. I think he thought, and I think we all agree, he thought, oh, he's going to like steal the spotlight for a second to like roast me or something. Oh shit, Will Smith gets to do whatever he wants. Yes, of course. Very chill.
I thought it'd be that fake fist, like, but still, you're walking a long way. How are you going to exit after all? But okay. You think you can do whatever you want. You're in the front row. It's obviously not planned. Whatever is going to happen isn't planned because the camera didn't have a good angle on it.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, and so he walks on, and Chris is behind his back, but like still open and invited. Will Smith, and I repeat, I am not mixing up actors. Will Smith, I am getting this very accurately. Takes his hand, put it behind him as if to like, and this all goes very quickly. He wound up and it looks like he fisted him in the face, but
it does look like a fist, but
it does.
But then you can see afterwards his hand is open.
Yes. And Chris Rock gets absolutely hit. You could hear it and you can hear Will Smith grunting. Will Smith walks back. Chris Rock hardly misses a beat. He actually, I am so impressed by this human being. I don't know that I've ever been
truly actually one of the most impressive things I've ever seen an entertainer do.
Bananas. The live show is interrupted to get slapped like a punch in the face. He, leans back because the slap pushes his face back and then comes back into the mic and goes, smoothly says, and I wish I had the quote in front of me, but
you think smoothly?
Oh, the smoothest. I would be shaking and visibly and audibly you can hear it. This is a live show and I just got hit. First of all, I'm not used to getting hit in the face. And even if I was, it's probably been decades since we don't know what he's in the face, let alone. Yeah, that's true. Right. That's true.
Maybe he gets slapped in the face all the time.
He's like, could presenting be more vanilla?
That's true. So then he comes back to the mic and says something like, looks like we have the biggest thing that ever happened in TV history.
I think he said this is the greatest night in like television history or something, or
most memorable or something like that. So smooth. He looks around to see if he should continue going because I think he looks like he's looking to a producer or something going like, I keep going, right? And just keeps going, kind of flubs a line completely respectably, and just keeps going. Oh, meanwhile, Will Smith, okay, while he's being caught, Will Smith suddenly got gangster. He's never been gangster. He's the most soft rapper ever. LL Cool J I would sooner believe LL Cool J did it. But
he has a clean album, 1999, 1998, clean album, just FYI.
Right. Welcome to Miami. He welcomes you in 2 different languages on that song. I mean, he and his whole family have a "We are the most Zen human beings in the whole fucking world" podcast, YouTube, whatever. So he goes, "Take my wife's name out your fucking face." And I'm like, ooh, summer, summer, summertime. Okay. He's heated. And Chris Rock, again, this is the most super professional way to do it. He goes, yeah, I'm not going to. He clearly says, I'm not going to say it anymore. And he goes, again, take your fucking same line. Take my wife's name out of your fucking face. Full on aggro. And then he goes, yep. I'm not going to do it, and continues the show. People, I am so annoyed by this because now comedians think they're that much greater and they feel like they've been punched in the face and they're right. Probably saying things like, see how important and see how like fucking people try to cancel us. They get physical with us. This didn't happen to you. Okay. There's one victim here, and that victim has been offered to press charges. He's not pressing charges. He had the option, I'm sure, to press charges. Charges against Will Smith, the fucking Academy, whatever NBC or whatever station. You can sue anybody. Now, here's what I see coming in the near future. A little anger management from behind the scenes. I think that just means like a meditation class and a podcast. And then Chris Rock and him sit down. Will apologizes to Chris. Chris turns it into an amazing thing. We're all paying for it on Netflix or pay-per-view or whatever the fuck they're getting us on at that point, and the world will be fine. But oh my God. First of all, black on black crime. Fuck. We just said, please hire some black people. Oh, that's not good. And of course, no one wants to say shit like that because that's not what actually happened. It's just this one person went bananas. And by the way, you laughed at that joke, so it's too late. You laughed. And where's the footage in between? Where's the footage?
I know. I want that moment. I want Jada leaning over being like, I actually felt that was in poor taste. That's what that's what I want to know what she said to him. Like, don't you fucking laugh at that joke, bro. Like,
right. In the in-between, was she like, are you going to let him fucking talk like that to me? Or was she just upset and he got up? Did she reach out and go, where are you going? Whoo. I think I depicted this story accurately.
It was very accurate. I will say this is why trigger warnings are important. Okay.
Yeah.
Trigger warning, alopecia joke. I do think as a comedian, it was interesting to watch because I yell at my audiences for being overly woke and not laughing all the time. And I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I feel like I'm just happy to not be getting punched in the face.
Well, I forgot she recently announced that she has alopecia.
Yes, that was the thing that I was like, I wonder, as a comedian, not a joke I would have done. Obviously, did not merit that response. I mean, that was like fully, we're talking about the most powerful, wealthy, privileged people on the planet. You know what I mean? You're like, it's like,
it doesn't mean that they're a punching bag, but you are in the space where
but I feel like any celebrity walking into that space kind of knows that they're gonna get made fun of, and it's not exactly the same as roasting a random person for whatever reason. It is a little bit different. Still not a joke that I personally would have made if I had known she had alopecia.
For the record, and I'm making this up when I say for the record, I don't believe he knew that.
It's hard to believe that he, knowing him and his work, it's hard to believe that he would have knowingly made fun of an autoimmune disease.
It's hard for me to believe. So what? We make fun of my autoimmune disease, my tumor. Like, there's not things that are off the menu. That's how you do it. It's how you do somewhere it. Autoimmune diseases will not be joked about. That's not a thing because a lot of people have jokes about a lot of different kinds of autoimmune diseases. It has to do with your sense of humor.
And it's also important, I will say, like, talking about things that might be as like a queer person or just like a person who struggled with anxiety and depression and things like that. I think those things are important to joke about because first of all, like, we're all human beings. We have a right to laugh at what we're going through and to bring
there's
relief
no
to those
hierarchy.
things.
It's why is people's thing the higher level of hierarchy? Why is your autoimmune disease not jokeable, but somebody else's, whatever disease, depression is, or gay, or whatever? That's not a thing. There's no list where we know what you can and can't say. You can joke about anything. It just has to be funny, or you won't get a laugh.
Right, exactly. But it, like, the reaction was just like totally, no matter how offensive a joke is, the better way to handle it is like make a comment,
to punch
on the
it
joke.
up for them. Whatever first started, he goes up, he slaps him. It's not until he says, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." I thought he was just slapping him for being so hacky. Here's these 3 horrendous jokes that Chris Rock was saying.
Just wasn't good enough. Just wasn't.
Macbeth.
Denzel, you were in Macbeth.
Loved it. I love the part where it said, "King Lear don't got nothing on me."
And then it's that awkward laughter too. We're like, okay, then you know how comics do. That didn't really go over, but I'm telling you it should have. Okay, anyways, here's another one.
Y'all gotta see it. It's really good. You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Is that because then you're a bitch to your wife? Like you're
a bitch to your husband. Yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, yeah,
I think it's like it's gonna be tough at home kind of thing.
Yeah. Keith, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
Praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Very timely joke based on Demi Moore having her head shaved in G.I. Jane in about, 1997. Okay. All right. Now he's laughing, like we said, and she's not. Then they cut away, and then he starts walking on stage.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
And Will Smith walks right back to his chair, almost like a proud moment, like, I did what a man has to do.
Yeah, and I don't know if people can hear it that clearly. He just goes, Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
And people are laughing, like, how is this a skit? That's how dumb this world is. How the fuck would that be a skit?
It would be a really poorly written, like...
But if the rest of the jokes are poorly written, then maybe this is because also in your mind, you're like, well, there's no way Will Smith gets up and legitimately.
Right. It's so surreal. It's like totally surreal.
Yeah.
Big wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Now, by the way, if you saw this in America, it was all bleeped out or it was just silence. This audio is taken from an Australian take. But if you were an American, it was a good day for deaf people because that movie Coda won so many things, children of deaf adults, and you could tell what Will is saying. But luckily, I got footage from Australia, so we can hear it.
Wow, dude. Yeah. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. So we are here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out for best documentary. Now, the beauty of documentaries, because they make you, when you watch one, you feel smart. Like you watched them, like you read a book or something. But all you really did was get high and watch Netflix.
Now he's a little flustered. The audience obviously is flustered.
Yeah.
No one's taking anything in.
So here we go.
That's it. And then he goes, you know what? Just go to the nominees. And then they cut to something pre-recorded where he goes through the list.
Yeah, he flubbed the line a couple times, but holy shit.
I mean, can you imagine? Your adrenaline is already off the charts just being on stage in this environment. And then you get hit like that. I mean, I imagine the amount of adrenaline in his body must have been just through the roof. It's hard to talk like in that kind of situation. So,
I might have thrown up. I might have thrown up because I think Chris is such a professional. He's been on stage so much that I don't know how many people could have handled it that well. And nobody kicked out Will Smith. Why is he not kicked out?
He was not only there all night. He won when you may have heard just now. Chris Rock goes, "Oh, Richard's coming on stage." He was King Richard, the Williams sister's father in a movie. He won. He ended up winning. Yeah. He goes up and he starts giving a speech, and he equates himself and the actions we just saw, without mentioning it specifically, to the great dad, King Richard. Here's this. Standing ovation,
Richard
by the way.
Williams was a fierce defender of his family.
He's ready to cry. Now I'll play that again. He just I think it's kind of obvious. He's saying, just like the guy I played, I will defend my family. Oh, for what? Here, joke. First of all, we understand. I have to think that Will believes it's understood he may be less of a man, or he may be a cuck because of this weird, relationship that he has with his wife. In fact, cuck was trending that night after the hit. So maybe he's like, oh, I'm going to stand up to this fucking guy. I'm tired of, he just snapped, and I happen to look like a fucking bitch right now. So I'm going to stop it. It wasn't Jason Momoa that you were slapping around. It's Chris Rock, who I'm surprised he was still standing up. That was a big hit. But that's why you did it for Chris Rock, because you could probably take Chris Rock.
I don't even know if he was processing at that level. I mean, maybe it was like opportunistic. And I truly am so bad at pop culture. I am not following. Like, I mean, there have been years and years and years of things about their relationship. And at this point, like, I just don't even follow it anymore. But like, if you like truly want to defend your family, you're thinking about the moments after this, right? Like, this is not good for your family to like.
Well, the son, Will Smith's son, wrote on Twitter, "That's how we take care of business." That's how we do it over here. Yeah.
You know what? All I knew was the slap. I did not know that not only did he stay, he won and got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Holly weird indeed. You guys should light the place on fire. What the fuck attitude do you have? That's crazy. I just got assaulted and then you're doing a standing ovation?
Apparently something that I saw on the news was that the committee, everyone who was sort of on the committee about what to do about him was like in different places all over the theater. So there was like no one person to make the call about whether or not to.
What do you do when somebody hits someone in your theater? There's no security. If it wasn't Will Smith, is there protocol for someone gets hit?
That's the thing. If this had been some other person, if this had just been if this had been me, they would have dragged me out of there. If I had hit,
well, are you having gay sex? Oh my god! Oh my god! You are controversial.
I'm spitting. I'm slapping. I'm having gay sex. But that's the thing. Like it just was this moment where it's like, did he just only get to stay in there because he's Will Smith?
Well, because they know that he's about to win something, so they don't want to have an empty stage because they don't know how to fill that space. But you guys are assholes, and you just show exactly what we think Hollywood is you just protect the fucking bullies.
Right.
And bullies is a very kind name.
And it's hard to think. It's the stupid G.I. Jane joke that would set you off. So we know it's got to be something else, right? So I'm looking up.
Maybe the testosterone.
Maybe he fucked his wife. I don't know. So back in 2016, Jada Pinkett Smith said it was that, Oscars so white that there weren't black people. And she said, let's all boycott the Oscars. And again, I'd be like, I understand your plight, but it is my fucking year.
That was more legit. That was way more legit.
And he made a joke about it, Chris Rock at the time. And he said, that's like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I have to be invited. She wasn't up for an Oscar, so why is she saying that?
Okay, that's cute. Okay.
She also complained that same year that her husband wasn't nominated for the football movie Concussion. And Will Smith said, well, it's not fair that he got $20 million for Wild Wild West. How about that? So is all these jokes adding up? I'm trying to make it make sense.
I've heard the narrative. I've been, trying to pay attention to this from like every perspective. And I have heard the narrative that like Chris Rock has been mean in his humor towards these two before. But I'm also just like, I want to see the data. I want to see other celebrities that Chris Rock is roasting on Twitter or whatever. Like, this is what this is his whole thing is about, like class and race and social commentary. Like, these are two of the most out there celebrities. You know what I mean? Like, lots of comedians are making jokes about lots of different celebrities. So
this is like Oprah getting up and punching Chris Rock. I mean, and I would like to think that Oprah has a better sense of humor. And by the way, I have alopecia. It's okay to call someone G.I. Jane when like your head's, it's okay. You're in a space where like,
and not for nothing, G.I. Jane was hot.
She fucking Jada's the hottest. Right. Her whole family is just gorgeous. They know it.
I think
that's how we do it over here.
I think what makes me frustrated is the comparison. Like whether or not you agree, you would make the joke. Like, I don't think that I would have the authority to make an alopecia joke. It's just not something that I would personally do. But there's just no comparison between physical violence and like a comedian trying to have a take on something that may or may not be offensive. Like, it's just not at all the same thing. And I think the fact that we're even having dialogue about why Will Smith did what he did is bizarre to me. It's bizarre.
Oh, no. There's no joke where you get to punch someone in the face. There actually isn't. Name a joke. What topic are you allowed to punch someone in the face? Because I don't think it's alopecia.
And even the most heinous, disgusting jokes, there's a better way to get your message across than violence. There's just like a better way. Yeah.
Walk out.
Yeah, walk out.
Now what are the Oscars going to do? Walk out because you know you're winning an award. You know it.
Right. And then, so Chris Rock does the best, and I'll go back to Will Smith's speech. Chris Rock gives the award for best documentary. I believe it was, is it Questlove? I think his movie Summer of Soul. So him and his group start walking to the stage. Will Smith is in the very front because he's Will Smith. So Will Smith stands up and gives all those guys the handshake hug. Now, I don't know if it's congratulations. I don't know if it's him COVID or apologizing in a way. But you see this painful look on Chris Rock's face that I also felt. Like, it's like, now you're buddies with everybody. It would like, oh, now you're shaking everybody's hand and hugging. And then cut to later, he wins his award and everybody stands up. Are they tired of comedians making jokes about them, these celebrities? And they're like, all right, you represented everything. You represented Amy Schumer in the beginning. You represented, Wanda Sykes. Good. I like to see a comedian slapped. Is that what it is?
I don't know. You're being can I use bitch in this fucking area? You're being a bitch.
So here's him accepting his award when he got it for King Richard.
Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family.
Now you can hear some oohs, I think. I hear but you also hear ooh, oh.
In this time in my life, in this moment, I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to do and be in this world.
And I'll tell you what else is going on. Well, this is going on.
I didn't hear that part.
I'll go back a little bit. But while this is going on, Jada Pinkett Smith is making out with that woman from West Side Story. So it's
you're going to get slapped.
on me to do and be in this world. Making this film, I got to protect Ingenue Ellis, who was one of the strongest, most delicate people I've ever met.
Is this a Pulitzer Prize?
I got to protect Sanaya and Demi, the two actresses that played Venus and Serena.
Not Demi Moore, you asshole. That's Selena and Venus.
I'm being called on in my life.
Oh boy. Oh Lord.
To love people.
Holy shit.
Protect people.
Oh my God.
And to be a river to my people.
Holy shit. Picture Zelensky did call in. He'd be able to relate, it sounds like.
Holy shit. You know what? I just want everybody to note that this is what God sounds like. Okay. This is what believing in God sounds like, where you can go, I was brought here to bring peace on earth after you just fucking slapped someone.
It's bizarre. It's
God
really
is
bizarre.
working through me to hit Chris Rock. It's all part of the plan. Listen, and if you cry, it's extra because that's really God. That's like all three gods, you know?
It makes me sad. Like, this just makes me sad. He obviously, something really horrible happened in his brain in that moment.
Well, also keep in mind that he had a book. Will Smith had a book come out not too long ago. It's called Will. Pretty clever. And in the book, he talks about being 9 years old and seeing his father punch his mother. Among other times, of course. And he says whenever he gets an award or gets any kind of fame or a movie takes off, that's his way of apologizing to his mom for not stepping up like a man. Is this him making up for it?
I've heard people talk about this and his psyche, and maybe this moment really triggered him, that he felt like he wasn't protecting his wife. I've heard that explanation. And all I can say is, like, I'm a person with some traumatic things in my life, and part of my responsibility is not punching people over it. Like that is a part of healing. Like, making sure that you are mentally well so that things like this, of course, what happened to him as a child is horrific.
Oh boy. Ashley,
terrible.
It's okay. They know.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, that is part of.
How do you mean no? Because maybe it's different over there.
Yes, but it's wrong. It's also wrong because
there's no excuse.
He's
that's
calling
what I'm saying.
himself. He's calling himself a man at 9. I didn't react
Totally.
like a man. And
Totally.
and if you were at betterhelp.com/KATG, you may learn that at 9 years old, you're not supposed to step up like a man.
Right.
The man who's hitting your mom is supposed to step up like a man.
And you take care of that
doing it.
guilt and that shame, and you address it in your life, and then you're not punching Chris Rock at the Oscar.
Yeah, that's not your dad.
It's not your dad. I feel really sad for him, honestly. It's like, to put that all in perspective and try and understand this weird moment, like, it's sad. It hurts because it's unprocessed emotions.
Yeah, and I get it, but I think he needs to be sad for himself and like actually, and I think that's what you're saying also, but it's just like, let's be sad for Chris, who had to maintain his composure. I mean, it would be fine if he walked away crying.
Yes.
And he happened to not. I mean, that was if he would have closed fist. Will Smith has posted, I'm in the best shape of my life. Yeah.
He was Muhammad Ali. That sticks with you.
Maybe he's just doing method acting, and that's why he's being, whatever he played recently, like, I am, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, spoiler alert, that's just a movie you're talking about.
Right. By the way, going back real quick, Chris Rock would look like a bitch if he pressed charges, right? You can't do that.
I think it would be not good. Because it's just like, the whole thing is a mess, and he doesn't, I don't know what he would get out of it other than not fair, because if it was a woman and if it was a physical assault or a sexual assault on a woman, we wouldn't say, look, it wouldn't be good for your career and wouldn't be cool if it's gonna do more damage to you than it does. I get it. He has every right to do it. I get why he didn't.
I get why he didn't, but
I didn't mean it in terms of his career. I just meant for his own mental health to like go through all the news stories about it and all that.
Yeah. Here's a little more.
Now, know to do what we do.
What do?
You got to be able to take abuse. You got to be able to have people talk crazy about you.
Can I have news? Can I have news for celebrities? People talk shit about non-celebrities also, but we don't get to cry into the fucking benefits. Okay. People are talking shit about us as much as you. They're putting it on social media. It's affecting our circle of friends. It's affecting our self-esteem if we let it. All the things that happen to you,
especially
because you
kids.
memorize. Yeah.
Especially kids.
It's all happening. It's all happening. So the things that you do, it's enough. Everyone take yourself down a peg. Who are you?
Also, even if it is more something that, and I'm like not a famous person, but people have written mean things about me on the internet. And the way that I describe it to people is this is what I want my job to be. And there are negative parts of every type of job that you do. My job is pretty 99% amazing. I fucking love it. And
but the ratio.
And people write things about me on the internet.
Oh, hundreds of people. No.
No. Yeah. But if you want to do this job,
but look at the ratio.
Even said it. You don't punch people about it.
Look at the ratio. You get negativity. How much positivity do you get on a daily basis? And how much positivity do you think an average person gets on a daily basis going into their office and coming back home? Not even from their spouse, their partner, or their children or anything like that. So we get all this praise and Will Smith gets more. And the ratio is the same of nonsense coming at you. So you're not dealing with anything really more than what we are.
Mark Wahlberg is saying, if I was there, it wouldn't have gone down like that. Mark,
you're kidding,
first
right?
9/11 and now,
oh God.
Oh, Mark.
He's trying to get an invite.
Abuse, you got to be able to have people talk crazy about you.
Like we don't know you're talking about what we just saw. You take abuse.
Abuse.
And it bothers me because, does this make sense? I always looked at Will Smith like he's half a comedian. If he did stand up, I think he'd be good at it.
Yeah,
that's why this is
he
extra.
has a comedy background too. Like I was thinking that earlier, that like he really went from comedy acting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even his rap was comedic. You know what I mean? There were punchlines in there for sure.
Right. His videos were comedic. Yeah, I actually had to think, wait, when was Will Smith a stand-up? Because they would be, around the same time. And I'm like, oh yeah, he was a rapper, but he did, like Ashley was saying, he was in comedic shows.
Yep.
Yeah.
In this business, you got to be able to have people disrespecting you. And you got to smile and you got to pretend like that's okay.
No, you don't.
Seem genuine laughter, but okay.
But that's not what he did. He did not smile and pretend that it was okay. He got up and smacked the dude in the fucking face. He didn't add that part in. He wasn't like, and then you got to get up and smack the shit out of him.
He's disgusted with himself that he fake laughed and clapped and ha. Yeah.
I wonder if it was a woman and she told that joke. What's in your arsenal then?
Suplex.
Richard Williams. And what I loved, thank you, D.
Thank you, Denzel.
Denzel said to me a
for
few
yelling,
minutes
I love
ago,
you.
he said, at your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you.
Oh
my God.
Jesus, at your highest moment, and this is pretty much the highest moment, we all agree. That's when the devils come. Now, what does that mean? Nothing. You just, hopefully the audience will make up something in their heads and it'll fit. It could mean Chris Rock is the devil. It could be the devil made you punch somebody. Who knows? But no reason to explain that.
Devil made me do it.
Then they cut to Denzel. Denzel's just staring like, don't drag me into this.
Well, he was right. Denzel was right. This dude, he had like a breakdown. Like his past got in his head during this night.
Okay.
He's thinking.
It's like, I want to be a vessel.
The music should come in.
For love.
God.
I want to say thank you to Venus and Serena. I just spit. I hope they didn't see that on TV.
So he is into spitting.
I want to say thank you.
Doesn't want to see that on TV.
He's in the hitting and spitting.
Venus and Serena and the entire Williams family for entrusting me with your story.
Now let me tell you what
And
they did.
$30 million.
They put the Oscars logo on the thing. You don't see him spitting. So somehow, like, he's really losing it, and they're like, he's looking too ugly on TV.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm very serious. Yes.
Wow.
Like, they didn't know where to cut to.
That's what I want to do. I want to be an ambassador of that kind of love and care and concern.
Just love too much. Me and Dracula.
What's Chris Rock? Like, he's back.
Chris Rock is watching this like, can someone get me ice?
Right.
I need an Advil, please.
Everybody's around the TVs, and he's like, "No,
He's got
right?"
a steak. He's got like a steak on his face.
Yeah. Guys, we're not. You're just watching because it's happening, right?
He's like, can I be a vessel for love? Like, what?
How come he took it? Shit. Can I go ahead and present again? I want to say something.
Also, let's consider whatever trauma that Will Smith had. You think Chris Rock had some trauma too?
Of course, he's a comedian.
Yeah.
Right.
Chris was just fine his whole life.
I mean, the whole thing is just so hypocritical. It's so, and it also overshadows a really important moment and a really important film. If he had not slapped the shit out of Chris Rock, we could be focusing on some of like the really important societal level, so many amazing things, like the first queer woman of color. You know what I mean? Like, God,
So much is going on. All the jokes that Amy Schumer stole. There's things that we could be focusing on, and we can't get there right now. This seems to be a history, doesn't there, Ashley?
Ironically,
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? It could be any of us. Happens to be her with proof, right?
Ironically, this slap is going to be in documentaries, and it was introducing documentaries. You made it like right on the spot. Good job. Is that what Meta is?
Meta is, you know, the name of her podcast, Ashley?
Sorry, I
Amy Schumer.
Oh, the three girls, one Keith, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, here's a little more.
Oh, that's what you were referring to. That's a really funny interpretation of that whole Amy Schumer stealing jokes thing.
That's not what he was solely referring to. But
Ashley's having a heart attack. Let's just move on.
I'm not having a heart attack. I have thoughts on the Amy Schumer joke stuff. I just feel like it's so 10 years ago.
Right. I didn't forgive Robin Williams. Okay. So we're different people.
I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees.
He doesn't apologize to Chris Rock, by the way. It's like, and I want to apologize to all the love givers like me. And
this is a beautiful moment, and I'm not.
It's a teaching moment. I welcome the conversation, Will.
Yeah, Chris was trying to welcome just a monologue, but a conversation will do better than getting hit in the face.
I'm not crying for winning an award. It's not about winning an award for me.
He goes, I'm not a bitch.
I am way deeper than just being happy about this award that I came here to receive.
Right.
About being able to shine light on all of the people, Tim and Trevor and Zach and Sanaya and Demi and Ingenue and the entire cast and crew of King Richard and Venus and Serena, the entire Williams family.
You didn't really say nothing.
Right.
Art imitates life. I look like the crazy father, just like they said.
No, but you did it. But you did it. I look like the crazy father, like in that movie. With
also,
that
life
guy.
Imitates art, I think, was
a little dig. Yeah.
Like crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams.
Oh, now you're laughing.
But love will make you do crazy things.
Yes.
Don't say shit like that.
You were so pure that you smacked him. And that again, that was a fucking smack. You ever see that Batman meme where he slaps Robin in the face? It's a cartoon, of course. That was the slap.
It was definitely like an action movie slap. Like that dude, he has done that before. Like he has wound that arm up.
He took boxing.
Yeah.
He took fucking boxing. I think Chris was very lucky that it wasn't closed fist because you tacked him out of nowhere and no hands up. No, like you really came at him.
Yeah.
Right. And now I see they cut to Jada for the first time. I want to see when he was yelling, "Keep my name out your mouth." Was she proud? Is she, I want to see her face there. I want to see reactions from everybody. Did you see it went viral? The reaction of who else was in the front row? Nicole Kidman. She's like half out her seat, like, "Oh my God." I want to see reactions from everybody.
That is a correct response. Yeah. I might get up, run around yelling, "Oh shit," before I sit back down in my chair. I see Will Smith getting up to hit Chris Rock and then yell. Yes, I might do a lap around the theater.
I'll put it on the website, but there's Nicole Kidman.
Yes, Nicole, you are very reasonably responsive. Okay.
Right. Let's see. A little more from this yapper. All right.
To my mother, a lot of this moment is really complicated for me, but to my mother, she didn't want to come out. Had her knitting friend. She has a knitting crew that she's in Philly.
So relatable. Oh, how quaint.
Watch it with.
The face slapping at the knitting crew. Unbelievable, by the way.
Being able to love and care for my mother, my family, my wife. I'm taking up too much time.
Yes.
Yeah. You're over 5 minutes.
Thank you for this honor.
Yeah.
Thank you for this moment. And thank you on behalf of Richard and Oracene, the entire Williams family. Thank you. Hope the Academy invites me back. Thank you.
Well, they didn't kick you out. Chris Rock is back there going, "A moment like this. Some people wait a lifetime." What the fuck? You got slapped, and now they're like,
"Yo, Chris Rock is gonna have a great special, though."
Yeah.
You know what I think? If I was Will Smith, I do a surprise spot at the Comedy Cellar, and I do mean Will Smith.
Yes.
Hey guys.
Xerxes was saying that Saturday Night Live better have some sort of some kind of mention or joke or entire sketch about it. In fact, I think we talked about bringing in Chris Rock just for that one bit. And it's like Chris Rock tries to tell jokes and then people randomly come up and slap him. Like, nope.
Hey, can I get a...
You ever have gay sex?
And then the next person to come out was P. Diddy. And he said, "You know what? After this, Will and Chris, I'll help you guys work this out. Because, the way family does." Anyway, let's move on with love. I've been in this kind of situation before where I was almost in a fist fight with somebody, and to try to calm it down is like, you both got a little too out of control. I'm like, no, now I'm really upset. But I know this third person just taking the easy way out. But I'm like, no, there's a real problem now.
In fact, you mentioned that when you were younger and a bully was bullying you, the teacher was like, "Stop it, the two of you."
Yeah, you two knock it off. I'm like, this guy's knocking off my head, but okay, I'll try to stop having fun. We're all having a good time. Let's see. What's that noise, by the way? Is that a dildo? Or
I'm so sorry. It is a dildo. I can't turn it off. It just goes when it wants to. Sometimes I'm on stage roasting people, and the dildo, it just randomly turns on and slaps me in the face.
You happy?
It's. I'm so sorry, guys. It's just construction outside. I have no idea. I was hoping the mic wasn't picking it up.
I didn't hear it, but Keith's got that hearing. I'm sure somebody else heard it if you heard it. But
if I was somebody going on stage, I think when I pass Will Smith in the front, I would be like, I'd have to. How you could act like this didn't happen and you pass them is insane. And these are the same people and I understand, like we're saying, everything's fake. It's these are the people that give a standing ovation to Mel Gibson. Like we all didn't hear those tapes. It is Holly weird. I'm just right.
I think the joke to do would have been like, I had some jokes about Will Smith, but
Right.
That would have been, I couldn't have resisted.
Right.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, Ashley, I don't think you'd get slapped in the face, but I wonder if Keith, you did your bit, if he might go for a second one. I am a vessel of peace.
Right.
Jesus Christ told me to do this. Bonk.
It is exciting though. Celebrities slapping celebrities. I got to tell you, what would you rather see? Kevin Costner droning on about the first Western he ever saw? Who gives a shit?
I think it's interesting that I've been hearing people say like, oh, I think of Will Smith and as this like very
Friendly.
The impression is that he's almost perfect in some way. And I don't know. I've always been worried about Will Smith's mental health, not for any particular reason, but there's just always some crazy rumors about his family. You know what I mean? So I've always been a little worried for him.
I think that was later in his career, and he seemed to have a really good head on his shoulders, and not kind of let that celebrity get away from him. But I think in the last, I don't know, maybe decade or two. Sorry, Ashley has to finish. Ashley, finished?
No. Sorry. It definitely looked like I was going to slap you across the face in that moment. The construction got worse. That's what I thought. You must have heard it at that point. It got even louder.
I did.
It was a little too much though when they added Chris Rock in the In Memoriam. I thought that was a little too much.
That would have been great.
They did have, no joke, they had the that cinematographer that Alec Baldwin shot. She was in the In Memoriam. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Well, that's a bummer.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I
Yes,
guess
the In Memoriam
so
will always
sad.
be a bummer.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess she made the deadline, so here she is. But
Oh man.
shit.
Yeah, and meanwhile, like that could trigger people. Nobody else slapped anybody. Interesting.
Right. And they do these things.
Did anyone slap Alec Baldwin at the time?
I don't know. They do these things for, it seems completely random, but they'd have White Man Can't Jump. They'd go, it's the whatever anniversary, let's say 30 years. Here's the main three characters from White Men Can't Jump. And they do some stupid little banter. It's a reunion of the Godfather. They had Francis Ford Coppola, Pacino, De Niro. They come out. They're half dead. So who gives a shit? James Bond. They go through all the James Bond movies saying it's been 60 years. But I guess all the James Bonds were drunk in the back because no one came out. And it's like, well, who cares? Well, you just show me old shit. Who gives a shit? These things are 3.5 fucking hours. I just see the rest of it online because my DVR wasn't recorded. Who gives a fuck? Here's another old movie. Who cares? We have movies now. That's what this is about.
Oh my God. Speaking of, I just saw Boys in the Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Folks.
When you like a reunion of that?
Wow.
Folks, wake up. There's this movie called Boys in the Hood, and you will like it. Okay, so maybe Kenda, you would like these people coming out. You're like, oh, it's a new movie about a 65-year-old basketball player playing
new to me.
playing in black parks.
But wow, I mean, prepare to cry. Wow.
Well, 1991, and I'm glad you caught up.
I feel like I think I kept thinking I did see the movie, but I think I only saw the video for the music.
The trailer, you mean?
No, I think there was like a lot of rap songs in it. So I think I just saw pieces of the movie.
So you like it. I can tell. I can see that scene.
This looks familiar.
Where he's breaking down in front of his girlfriend. I can picture what would happen before and after that. Best Picture was the movie Coda. That's on Apple TV. First of those streaming things to win Best Movie.
And what does Coda stand for again?
Children of Deaf Adults.
Oh, that's funny because CODA also stands for Children of Codependence. It's what Codependence Anonymous uses.
Best Actress, Jessica Chastain, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Best Actor, Will Smith for King Richard. Best Supporting Actress, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. Best Supporting Actor, this guy Troy Kotzer for Coda. Best Director, Jane Campion. The Power of the Dog. This piece of shit. Holy cow! Anybody see this?
I didn't see any of these movies, so I'm like totally.
Oh my God!
Have you seen Boys in the Hood?
No.
Okay,
and now I'm gonna.
You have to. Yep.
And best adapted screenplay also went to Coda. So yeah,
See,
guess I'll have
Keith,
to check it out.
we remind people of movies. It's not the worst part of the Oscars. It's not that segment's fault that it's 3.5 hours. It's Will Smith talking for 5 minutes through his stupid ass fake tears.
Right. Should Chris Rock have come out and tackled him while he was doing his speech? Should he pull a Kanye West and say, I'm sorry, but whoever the fuck was the best actor this year?
He runs out and goes, peace. And then just leaves. Just talking about how you have a higher purpose.
Run out, grab his Oscar. I wonder, man. I wonder if I would do something when you're crying at minute 4 and I'm like, I think you're somehow getting the audience on your side. Run out, grab the Oscar. Say, this wasn't important to you anyway. Right. I'm going to go give it to Sean Penn for his melting party.
For his melting.
Oh, well. Did they fuck that night? Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith?
No, she went to her other lover's place, but, he watched.
Right. For her being bald, she obviously has a beard, right?
Oh,
hey, yo.
Oh, boy. Ashley, feel free to slap Keith.
I feel that way all the time, but I never do it. I feel for Jada in this moment too, because we don't know how she was feeling in that moment. Obviously this is not her fault. And I wonder if the whole time, I wonder how she felt about it. This could be so embarrassing. So embarrassing.
They went to a party afterwards. They're laughing it up, shaking hands and everything.
Yes,
that
there's
wasn't
all
the
that
end of
footage.
the night.
Yeah.
What the hell? He had a stupendous night. Is Chris just like going home and crying?
Poor Chris.
Right? Now you can't hang out at the party. The guy who assaulted you is there. Right. And everyone's standing up for him. That's so bizarre to not even care that there was just a crime happening in front of people. That's a crime, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's live, and it's like, anyway, these award ceremonies, they're so what?
Well, no joke. They weren't making a joke about this, but I don't know, LA cop Twitter is like, we're looking into it. We don't have all the information yet. It's like, we'll gather around a TV. Is this what happened when we defunded the police? They can't have TVs now.
It's bizarre that also the misuse of art as an excuse for what happened. I'm like this character and I have trauma and feel for me. This is where this came from. And it's like other people don't get to use that as an excuse for violence. It's just so wild. Right.
Well, there you go. And that is the Oscars, the most wonderful time of the year. Boy, the Grammys are going to suck, aren't they?
The Grammys have to work in 2 slaps to keep up with the Oscars.
And a spit.
Everyone's like, how can we get a slap in here?
Oh, my goodness. It would be funny if the Grammy started with a 15-minute boxing class for the audience.
Right. All right. Let's go over what we learned today. Okay. I got this letter from a new tattoo. And I do think it's very funny that you can throw your phone on that and it leads right to KATG.com. Wow. I enjoyed hearing that. We talked about the drummer for Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins. He passed away. I've heard him in a couple interviews. I don't know. I liked him. I just liked them.
Foo Fighters are cool.
Yeah, they're cool. It's very sad.
Yeah. If you haven't heard Foo Fighters music, it's fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Dolly Parton will be a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, whether she likes it or not. So congrats to her and her family. Sean Penn says he'll be melting his Oscars on TikTok at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm excited about that. Let's see. It's Hollywood, baby, and you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, apparently. And it's weird that online I do see people being just saying the opposite of what we are and being against Chris Rock somehow. And you got to stand up for your family. I'm like, you were that easily tricked?
And I almost think Chris Rock should press charges on him because I don't think people understand. They just saw a crime and now he's just going I'm going to be the cool one and still getting shit. That's crazy.
Maybe the good news is comedians will now have security in clubs. Maybe that's
you
the
saw
good
what
news.
security did.
It's so also security in clubs. This is near and dear to my heart. Often don't do anything when people are coming at us. I've seen some really wild. I mean, nothing as wild as the slap, but they really.
What have you seen? Like, because
my friend,
nobody came to this guy's help either.
Yeah,
but yeah.
My friend did a club that was sort of like, maybe a little more not LGBTQ friendly. He's gay, and these guys like started screaming at him slurs and things like that, standing up, threatening violence, and the security just did nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
They should be kicked out. Absolutely.
They should be kicked out.
Why do you get to do that?
Clubs want the money. They want the money. They want the drink money. Not all clubs, obviously, but a lot of them.
Well, they have to debate. Like they see they see Will Smith walking up to Chris Rock. And then they're like, is this a skit we don't know about? Why don't these people run everything by us? Because the picture security just started tackling them like, sir, you're not.
You have a different lawsuit now on your hands.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't want to get rid of them. I guess, that's when even leave anyway. I think I would leave. I think I would. I know the camera's going to keep cutting to me. I'm not even in a regular chair. I'm so far in the front row. I'm in one of those sofa chairs. Me and my wife are in, separate, huge fucking king and queen chairs. I wouldn't even, I don't know. Maybe they also don't want the camera to cut there and there's just an empty chair. They don't know how to get rid of the chair in time.
I'm not saying security should have caught it before the slap. I understand the timing. It can't happen that way. You don't think Will is going to hit Chris. Okay. Now we're calling them on first name basis because once you slap someone on TV. Okay. But I do think that no one was alerted and no security like even popped their head out, it seemed. And nobody said you need to leave now. Also, minimum you need to leave.
Very surprising. No one, I guess let Chris do his job that he came to do, but also surprising no one came up to Chris being like, you okay, bud?
Right.
Everything all right? You get slapped like that, you might fall down, you might faint. Like you have no idea. He could have hit his head on the way down, not even from, the actual hit. So
Right. And even the things that we're making up that didn't happen, you just got hit on live TV. Do you get to go home? Do you get your money? Like we talked about how a guest of ours was 17 and at 2 a.m. as she was working at the 7-Eleven got robbed. She was the only person there and she had to finish her shift. I don't think you should have to finish your shift when somebody hits you. Right. Never mind that it's on live TV. But yeah, I think you get to go home with pay and severance.
Or oh no, because he brought up keep your wife out of your mouth. I really at first I'm like, oh, he's hitting him because he's so hacky, and really Chris Rock could do better than that. But you're right. Once he says about the fucking out of your mouth part, then you're absolutely right. More than half of those surveyed in the new poll said that the comedian was in the wrong when he joked, Chris Rock, of course, when he joked about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head at the Oscars, and do not fault the Will Smith for smacking him on camera. 52.3% blame Chris Rock for the incident. 47.7% say Will Smith should have kept his cool. By the way, both of these things are against Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not like, whoa, what the fuck? Your other choice is he should have kept his cool, even though it was so egregious.
Right. It was,
it's called the Blue Rose Research Poll. But that did surprise me. Did you ever think that's how crazy it is that now we got a debate if hitting is wrong?
Yeah, that's to me, I think one of the scariest things about all this is the lack of empathy people have. I mean, everyone's slipped
towards
up and
Chris
said
Rock. They have empathy towards Will.
Exactly. And also too, like this inability of people to imagine themselves in that position or imagine someone they love. It's funny because if you ask someone who defends Will Smith, well, what if that was you who said something? They would say, well, whatever. I'd like to see someone try, do that or whatever. Okay. Right. Well, what if it was your grandfather? Well, I would do something like it's just kind of this devil like devolving into the Wild West, into making it like, eye for an eye. Let's just, you gotta, it's might makes right. And it's insanity. I think it's complete insanity.
And it also, not that this even now we have to go so far as to also take into account it was Jada that was talked about, and it was her husband who, like a caveman, came into the decision making of moving forward, like physical assault. Why, when we go, well, sometimes you just have to physically assault someone. Does that sound okay?
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Like, that's crazy, because then it's like, well, okay, well, you're gonna have to live and die by that sword. Like, if you really think that that's okay, then, well, all right, you're walking down the street, someone cuts you off, and you say, "Hey, asshole," they're gonna come back and punch you in the face. You got to be like, well, I deserve that. You know, like, that's crazy. What do we want? What kind of world do we want to live in?
Who are these people voting like that? Are they the ones that are calling everybody else snowflakes? Because this is a snowflake. If that joke triggered you so much that you feel like a slap that hard on live TV in front of your peers, ruining the event for everybody is necessary, then you can't call anybody a snowflake. You need help. Your trigger is way too sensitive.
Yeah, no, it's really kind of like, to me, that's been the most jarring thing about the whole thing, is like, it really speaks volumes as to where we are as a country, you know, that's
we're
really
even debating it,
that we're even debating that, like, the joke aside, everything else aside, the everything, like, bottom line is, this guy completely assaulted someone else
and then got a standing ovation,
got an Oscar, was able to go to a party and dance the night away. It's just complete insanity. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying the guy should be put in, get in the chair or anything, but the fact that we are able to just.
And we're always comparing to that. No one's saying the chair. We're not even saying arrested. Why do we even compare to that?
It's crazy.
All we're saying is, did anyone just see that?
Yeah.
Because it got deleted from fucking memory right away.
Right. It's the most insane thing. I mean, it really, like, and that's when people are like, what's the big deal? Like, it was funny. This speaks, to me, it speaks volumes as to where we are. And to me, that's a very sad, like, pill to swallow, and I don't know.
Yeah. And you know what? It's, at the end of the day, it is called a bitch slap. And Chris Rock is almost seen as the bitch now, because he's not the one who did the hitting.
Yeah. Well, also too, like,
it turned on him
is
that
a
much.
picture of him getting slapped.
Yeah.
That's what you do to a woman.
Oh my God.
I can't, like, the whole thing. And then also too, like, throw in everything else. I mean, that little discussion aside, like, the fact that it's assault, throw in the fact that now comedy is, like, now there's, like, a whole new view on comedy. Now it's a discussion. Now it's become like, well, is the joke okay? Can you hit someone? There's actually, like, a question in the popular opinion's mind of, can I retaliate? Should I retaliate? Like, that's now an issue, not something you can actually consider,
Which is so funny, because we wouldn't consider this if we're going to a Broadway show or an off-Broadway play, a musical, an opera.
Yeah.
If the lyrics are something that trigger me, can I go up on stage in the middle of Oliver and go, that's not what orphans are? Smack.
Slap.
Right. Or go up in the middle of, like, like the Spider-Man musical and be like, this sucks. Like,
a spider wouldn't have this effect after biting a human. Fuck, why are you teaching wrong science? You get upset differently.
Yeah.
Will Smith's mom says, my son is a very, very even person. That's the first time I ever saw him go off.
Okay.
The first time in his lifetime, I've never seen him do that.
Okay, that's a different conversation. He didn't even do it when his dad beat the shit out of me. I didn't say it. Oh, you did see that.
Now, so is the only way to make it okay, like on Saturday Night Live, Chris Rock gets to slap him? Because Chris Rock's fingers, he's got like Muppet hands. I wonder if that would help him or hurt him.
I think they should take his Oscar away.
Or could he slap him? But he gets to use, Chris Rock could slap him back, but he gets to use that big jackass hand. It just knocks him all down. To me, to take away the Oscars is silly to me, because what if I just want to go back and learn who won that year? And the answer is going to be nobody.
No, give it to someone else or something. I don't know.
What a fun surprise for that person that night.
Yeah.
You kick Will out, which is what you were supposed to do when somebody assaults somebody. You kick Will out, and Jada decides if she's going to stay or not. Let's see how loyal. Yeah. And then you, I don't know what you do with the Oscar, but you deal with it. You don't. And then how weird would it be if it's like, we were going to give this to Will, but the runner up is, and that person has to go up and be like, peace on earth. What else can I say right here?
Right.
I'm not as much a vessel for love, I guess.
Right. I'd like to thank Will's short temper for this Oscar.
Well, Chris is performing in Boston tonight. I believe it's the start of his tour.
Well, you heard his tickets have gone up. Like the tickets like shot up in price because everyone wants to see what he's going to say about all this.
I was at the Borgata recently because Kyle was performing stand-up, and I saw in the same place Chris Rock was about to. I think the tickets were maybe 40 some bucks.
Reasonable.
I looked it up today, over $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could see Rolling Stone's VIP package for half that, and I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
The lowest tickets I read, you were able to get for like $31. Now it's $400 some dollars.
Yeah.
So all Will Smith did for Chris, he added on. He's got to give Chris work. I would be very disappointed if I bought my ticket early or later and Chris Rock didn't talk about it. Now you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
You just got a job.
Yeah.
So in 2 days, you need 5 or 10 minutes of what everybody's talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even think people are expecting like jokes at this point. They just want to hear what he has to say, period.
Right.
Like, I mean, just like go up there and address this dude. We're all like dying to know what he's going to say.
But you know what? I think to Keith's point, imagine if it was a different assault and it affects my career, where now I have to talk about my assault before I get to the show that I already finished writing this show.
Yeah.
So again, would we ask the Broadway performer, like, now you're going to go, the tickets are sold out and prices have risen. Should we stop the show and go, here are my thoughts about this and try to catch them afterwards?
Yeah.
You, as much as like, everyone's like, well, he's benefiting from it. I think we do that a lot to the victim. How are you benefiting from this? And it's like, well, not how I wanted to, not in the way that I wanted to, not for my choosing. And by the way, I got slapped on live TV by a colleague. Can we not forget that this wasn't a gift? That's like how your parents are like, you know, we're complaining about our parents, whatever. And they're like, see, you're welcome for the fodder. I'm like, you said this was good news growing up. So, yeah.
Well, and it's also a very American way to look at it, like that money equals benefit. The fact that you make more money means you win. You've won something. When that's not true, like he would probably choose, like, I would rather the tickets be what they were before. I don't care. I'd rather not have to deal with this crap. I would have rather not gotten slapped. I would have rather, but everyone's like, oh, now he's more famous. Now more people. And they think that matters for anything. Like, yeah,
and he's famous for that. Where meanwhile, he's got decades of history of doing his work.
Crazy.
Now the credit is on this other dude.
Yeah. And people think but that's such a typical thing. Like that clout equals like that's it. That's the ultimate prize. Clout and money. Why are you complaining? You know?
And who in the audience could afford $1,200 tickets? It's going to be the elite that you hate now.
Yeah.
You know, I think he should have like 5 plants in the audience. So these guys start coming up to him and one at a time, he keeps slapping.
Yeah, exactly.
Sit down. People get confused and think.
Well, I think they're going to, I think after the show, people are just going to line up to get slapped by him. Actually, I think that's the meet and greet.
That's the new ride after the show.
Yeah, exactly. People instead of for autographs, they just slap, you know.
But see, I know that he has to think about all this now. He has to put it into his show, his pre-show, his after show, whatever. He has to put it into his life because it's there. Or like he said, I'm going to be so disappointed if that doesn't come up. But it shouldn't have to. Yeah.
Well, not just the fact that he has to think about it. He has to process this. Like no one wants to. I mean, like I just remember like in high school and stuff, you get into these fights and stuff, like it affects you. It's traumatizing and you walk away from it just dealing it on your own. Now he's got to deal with it in public. He's got to deal with it at home. He's got to deal with all this anger, all that stuff. And then he has a professional pressure of making jokes of it and all this stuff. Like it's a lot, man. Like,
yeah, but he did say, I mean, he was so composed that he was able to say right after it happened, like immediately, this is history. He already knew how this was going to unfold. And you know what? Because we have so much precedent of this, like your abuser is in the audience or your abuser is on stage getting an award, a standing ovation. That's like regular.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rarely do you see the actual assault on live TV, though. That's the thing. Like everyone saw it. There's no question. It's not like, well, he said, she said. It's like, no, we're watching. It happened. Everyone can see it, you know?
And then he doubled down by yelling. And then we all forgot it. Or the people in the audience forgot it. I can't believe he wasn't removed.
I agree. I think they should have been removed. But I think what's interesting, too, is like it's hard to like people were in shock. Everyone was in shock. I can't imagine being in that audience and just being like, is that a joke? Was that a sketch?
Were they still in shock or
real?
they stood up?
I would definitely.
The shock has worn off. That is,
I agree.
Human behavior. You don't stay in shock the whole time. Could they still all lift a car by that point? No.
Yeah,
and there were commercial breaks between. Obviously, there were commercial breaks.
Definitely.
So that means everybody's talking to each other. And somehow, universally, they decided they're on Team Will Smith.
That to me was the most like surreal part of the whole thing. Like it's like we're in the Twilight Zone. We're like in the Twilight Zone. And also too, like the producers or something, they should have at least removed him or something. Like, what is going on, man?
Here's a tweet. Here's a tweet I like. Brendan Cooney says, so let me get this straight. Y'all think it's okay to slap a modern day philosopher? That's right. That's right. I enjoyed this tweet from Kemda. Everyone who responds with physical assault is coming from a place of pain. It's not kindness to make excuses for them. It's kindness to give them the responsibility of their own thoughts and responses. Hashtag we all have pain.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is, well, he was in pain. Well, this is him lashing out at something. The history of violence that he had in his immediate family. And it's like, what? You're listing things that so many people have. How about the letter that we got at the top of this show?
Right.
Does that person get to slap someone? How many people, you know?
It's not an excuse. He even said it in his apology. I don't know if you guys read his apology where he said he's a work in progress.
Yeah, I'll get
Give
to
me
that,
a break, man. We're all a work in progress, man. We're going around hitting people, you know?
Well, I think I'm complete. I didn't smack anybody for
exactly.
months. Complete. Everybody's acting like alopecia, stage 4 cancer. Do a little Google. It's okay. It's okay. The fuck? Some hair falls out in the shower. You'll be all right. Okay.
It isn't like, again, I have alopecia also. And the most it's been is a bummer, you know, because you are like, I feel bald spots in my head and stuff, and it freaks you out, but it's, and it's another autoimmune disease. And once you have one, like, it's a fucking bummer, but like you said, it's not stage 4 cancer. And even if I get stage 4 cancer, and if you guys stop laughing at me and my diseases, I'll be so sad. Now, I'm not making that decision for another person and how they deal with their own health problems. But if Chris Rock and if I was in the audience or like in a space where jokes are being told, then I know it's from love. I know that Chris Rock is not hitting me.
Yeah. And you know what you're saying, Hamda, is that like, even if it was something that offended you, that's beside the point. Like the guy punched someone on stage, like he slapped someone on stage, like, give it to her, I guess. Okay, alopecia, it's been traumatic, it's whatever, fine. Still not okay. You know, like it doesn't matter. Like we're all missing. Even
if like she was dying.
Yeah, it's like we're missing the point. This guy just assaulted someone on live television and nothing happened. Like that's the point. And I think that's what people are missing. Everyone's like, oh, he stood up for his wife. Oh, it's traumatic. I have the same disease. That's all beside the point. Like just looking at it from a legal standpoint, it's beside the point, you know?
Anybody see the documentary Con Air? There was a guy that was trained by the military. Yeah. And so his hands, they're known as weapons. And he tried to defend his wife, but by killing a person or two, that's bad. No, Will Smith was Ali, the greatest boxer of all time.
He's method, but like a little late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a tweet. This is real. This is a statement from Alec Baldwin about the fight. Alec Baldwin, who, however you look at it, did shoot somebody to death.
By mistake. Okay. All right.
Okay. But I'm ready to give my opinion now. It's not for you. It's not for you. If you watch those awards, he saw that the third person in the in memoriam was the woman he shot. Oof. You don't get to comment on this.
Well, let's hear the comment.
He says, I'm not reading much about how or even if the producers attended to Chris, but I love you at Chris Rock. And I'm sorry the Oscars turned into the Jerry Springer show. So he's ready to get back out there. Good for him.
That wasn't so bad. Was that so bad?
Just shut up. I just saw the person you killed.
That was traumatic for him. That's such a different thing. That's a long equation.
I would
stay out of it. I just killed somebody, whether I think I'm guilty or not. I'd be so devastated that I wouldn't bring up a point that has to do with that woman was just on the in memoriam. How about that for a statement? My heart broke again when I saw this. No, you got to talk about the fucking trending thing. It's strange. It's strange.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad. What's ironic is I could see Alec Baldwin doing something like what happened. Frankly, I could see him going on stage and doing something like that.
Yes, he has some issues. That's all. He's having another baby, by the way. See, that's how bored he was. He's like, I can't do movies. All right, I'll make
May I be ageist and say how old is he?
How old is he? Let's take
116 years old.
He's up there.
He's almost retirement age in the United States.
63.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He's 63.
Wow.
63. Okay.
That's another.
His wife is 38 for the record.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that's another interesting. That's another interesting fact about this whole thing is people forget Chris Rock is almost 60.
Right.
He's like in his late 50s, isn't he?
I don't know.
I believe so. He must be. This
is a guy who's almost 60 years old getting assaulted on stage.
He is 57.
Yeah. That's crazy. This is like almost a 60-year-old man getting slapped on stage. Like these aren't two teenagers or two professional athletes. These are like two, one is almost 60 and the other guy's like 50, mid 50s or something. Who knows?
Will Smith's 53. Yeah.
Crazy.
I can't make movies. I'm bored. Let's have a baby. Well, she's pregnant. I can't really, do anything with that. So I have a comment on the Oscars. Just relax. Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric's Awesome Show. He left a statement. Now, this is how you do it. And it's a black and white picture of him with his hands in prayer form up to his mouth. Right? He's really thinking about this situation. My heart breaks, he says, for comedy itself. We cannot allow violence to stop us from speaking the truth. Comedy is a sacred art. From back in the Bible days, even Adam and Eve had comedy in their lives. No comics should fear for their lives just for being honest about hair or how bad someone smells. That said, offensive jokes should be met with worldwide condemnation from all, and we must take responsibility for our actions, even if that means being physically attacked. I am one of the most offensive comedians of all time, but I must say, no more bullshit.
That's
beautiful.
What was that?
He's not saying anything.
Okay.
That's the point.
He's joking around. Yeah.
Okay.
So you brought up Will Smith's apology. First, Jada Pinkett Smith was the first one to say something. And by say something, I mean on Instagram, a purple background and some striking font that says, "This is a season for healing and I'm here for it." That's it. That's her statement.
Poetic.
And poetry doesn't have to mean nothing sometimes, I guess.
Right.
What the fuck does it mean?
It's whatever you want it to mean. That's how it's poetry. Is it a haiku?
Right.
That'd be fun.
Right.
Well, people also call poetry stuff that makes no sense. Yeah. It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's poetry, whatever,
I think you guys get what I'm saying.
No, for sure.
This is Will Smith's Instagram now. Okay. Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I saw a meme where it shows her face. She just looks like she just came from the Matrix 5, like a real stoic face. Like she's looking at him and goes, "Engage Executive Order 66." And then Will Smith is like a robot, like, "Now must slap." I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I'm embarrassed by my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I would also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and my King Richard family. You'll remember in my speech, I equated myself to that great man. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained what has been an otherwise gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress. Sincerely, Will. And I'm very happy that Chris Rock hasn't made a statement yet. You know, maybe the statement will be, some reporter's going to go to this Boston show tonight and tell us what happens. But you know what? Good. Let them fucking sweat. Don't say it's okay. It's not okay. Let them wait it out. That's what I think.
hear you, because the last thing I want to do is make sure that I respond to the person who just slapped me. I think I'm busy.
Yeah. Yeah. And Will Smith.
And good for you. You apologized. And I guess, within 24 hours after you partied. But
right. Sorry, I have a hangover. It took me a bit. But apparently Jada put something up, so I have to now too.
Right.
I totally get why people don't give a shit about apology. Even though that apology was like, let's say if we just looked at it, it had all the things, right? But I've gotten apologies from people that were really long emails, and I'm like, I didn't read it. Like, I'm either going to like you again or not. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I get it. You didn't mean it. What could be in this email? I'm like, all right. I don't know. It's either so egregious that like, we can't go back no matter how sorry you are. And that's fine. We all don't have to like reunite as friends always. Or it's something that was going to roll off me anyway. And okay, however you said sorry, good for you.
Will Smith is like, you know what? Nothing's more important now than dialogue and conversation, and turn off notifications and turn off you're able to write back in any way. Click.
Right.
Oh my God.
Why did you hate the apology?
Why did I hate the apology? Let me look at it again.
Are we just in hate mode? And I'm not saying this sarcastically. I want to know because it on the books, like that is an apology, right? So I was having a response.
Why did you do it, and how do I know you're not going to do it again? That's what makes an apology. What are you doing so it doesn't happen again? You're a work in progress is what you're doing so it doesn't happen again. When will you be fulfilled?
Yeah, he was trying to justify it in that apology. Yes. He was trying to say like the medical condition thing, he's a work in progress, like all this stuff. And it's kind of just like, he's kind of saying like, I'm sorry, but he did say that thing. Don't forget, and that's kind of, once again, beside the point. You say he reacted emotionally. He didn't. He reacted physically. He reacted emotionally and physically. A lot of people react emotionally when they get made fun of. Okay, you go home, you cry about it, you talk to them after, whatever. But he reacted emotionally and physically. Like it's not the same thing,
I wasn't my best self. Right. Jokes of my in the very first paragraph, he's like you're saying, Tom, he's justifying what happened. Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. First of all, thanks for the lesson, Will. How about more I statements, you piece of shit?
Yeah, I felt that. And that's the thing. I felt like agita as you were reading it. And I'm like, am I already mad? But I think you guys are making good points.
My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Okay, maybe we're getting somewhere. Jokes at my expense I can take, but when it's about Jada's medical condition, that was too much for me to bear. That's your out right there. I should have controlled myself when somebody attacked. By now, it's been at least 24 hours. By now that Chris Rock wasn't just attacking her and making fun of some disease. He didn't have anything planned. Those 3 jokes he said were corny as fuck. G, you look like G.I. Jane. I should be slapped for being so fucking hacky. Yes, of course, I do agree on that.
Metaphorically, thank you.
And in the face, but
allegedly.
But factually, I would like to apologize to you, Chris, even though, remember when I did my speech. Also acknowledge that you did your speech, which we played on the last show we did. You did your speech attacking Chris. You compared yourself to this guy from the movie you played and said, the father that cares too much. Now, all of a sudden, it's about your kids also, is what you're implying. The just like King Richard, the father has to step up and he's going to look crazy, but he has to take care of his family. Like Chris Rock was attacking the whole family.
Right.
You can't trick me, you piece of shit. And during your apology, mention that. Mention it might have been a little humiliating that you're introducing Best Documentary. And when Questlove and his pals start walking to the stage, Will Smith gets up and hugs them all to show that, hey, look, everybody's on team Will Smith.
May I just say, now, Keith has a history of apologies. So when he was growing up, his father asked him to apologize to him multiple times and for no reason. So I think Keith became like an apology expert. And I think this is a game show where you bring your apology to Keith. He fucking breaks it down line by line. Here's where you're not taking responsibility. Here's where you're putting it on your victim. Here's where you bring it back to children that don't even exist during this time, like even your potential, whatever it is. and just go like, no, try again. And then the contestants go and try again.
There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. You're trying to double up on trickery, just like you did during your speech. You said you're a vessel for love picked out by God.
Ugh. Oh, and by the way, I can see the point system now where he goes, you double down on that. That's 2 extra points on the board.
Yeah. Survey says.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
1 point for being snide and you thought you were going to trick me. 2 points for trying to trick me because you know how much I fucking hate that. 3 points for calling yourself the victim in lines 3 and 4 without using the words victim. Love it. This is a new game show.
Yeah. It's so weird to punish with taking away the Oscar, even though if it would affect this egotist, because let's say I get picked. It's kind of weird that you know that I was second, just not first. Yeah. And then if I'm not picked, it's weird that you know I'm 3, 4th, or 5th.
But I don't think it's about that. It would be more about the fact that like you did not get your way. It's like this is a message saying you're not getting your way here. And it's like he could think all day long like, yeah, but I still won. Okay, you didn't get put in the books as the winner. All right, it does something. It's also a public signal as well, saying we're not putting up with this.
Well, yeah, I get your public signal, and I agree with that. I think the public signal should have been get the fuck out of this space right now, and we're gonna have to figure out what goes in your Oscar slot. But it's not going to be a standing ovation for you, and you don't get to win any more Oscars in the future.
Right.
That's it. We're not pressing charges. Right. Which, by the way, could be so many charges here from different directions, different people. We're not going to press charges, but you can't win this award anymore because you tainted this one for life. Yeah, that's a public, that because what else can you do if Chris doesn't want to press charges? Then I think that's who gets to decide.
The Academy condemns the actions of Mr. Smith at last night's show.
How so?
We have officially started a formal review around the incident.
We're going to review it.
Yeah. Did anybody out there record it? Nobody records anymore. It happened so fast.
We're going to do our own research.
Yeah, we've officially started a formal review around the incident, and we'll explore further actions and consequences in accordance with our bylaws, standards of conduct, and California law. What are the Academy bylaws and standards of conduct to actors slapping actors?
Can you please do my game show? Can you go line by line and say how many points they get for their nonsense?
Sure. The Academy condemns the action. You don't. So we're starting you negative on the board.
Yeah.
You don't condemn the actions. We have officially started a formal review. What'd you learn? You doubled down, minus 20. Show me on that board. Thank you, Vanna. Fuck.
Thank you.
And then they somehow from the Smith camp, Will and Jada Smith will address Chris Rock Oscar smack on Red Table Talk. That's Jada Smith, her daughter, and her mom, I believe. And they talk about it. So they'll get to the bottom, which is so fucking unfair. Because I'm Chris Rock and you're all going to sit down there and discuss what was going through your head, which is going to be justifying it. You'll still say you were wrong, but you'll throw out the points like you just did, and it's not an apology. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That is what's going to happen. And the thing is at least the US and maybe possibly around the world, they will take their side because their show is so intimate and wholesome and learning about yourself and growing. And it's like, hey, what they are growing and they're growing in front of us and they're being so open about it and blah, blah, blah. And that gets mistaken for actual sincerity and apologies.
For actual words. Oh, yeah, you are a vessel of love. How am I going to shit on that? You can, because it's the dumbest fucking words I've ever heard put together.
Well, you know what?
100.
People don't even read. I guess people overlook the fact, too, that what like a crazy like shift this guy did. He went from laughing at the joke to having so much rage he had to hit the guy, to having his voice quiver with anger, to being on stage crying about how he's a vessel with love, to going to an after party and dancing the night away, to then the next day apologizing. Like, what kind of a like psychopath are you? Like that to me just screams like a complete, just emotionally unstable person. But I don't know. To me, I've always been so.
You can't say I don't know after all that.
Well, I say I don't know. I don't know. Well, I say I don't know because I guess when I see someone who's that famous for that long, you have to remember these people have been told for decades that they are God, pretty much. Right. After a little while, you're going to believe it.
I think that's what he was saying when he was on stage.
Exactly.
He was saying that he's God. God is talking through him, and all these words and actions are necessary as part of my vessel for love.
And that's why I guess I say I don't know, because you can almost, if you take a step back, you can hardly blame these people because they're being told this every day. I think any human being after long enough would just be like, yeah, I guess you're right. I am kind of the number one person. I can treat people how I want. I can do what I want. No consequences, whatever. They're living a different reality than us. And I guess that's the sad thing. They are living like gods,
though. They're not really wrong. He literally just proved that he can do anything and not have consequences.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to the Vanity Fair party or whatever. Oh, okay. I'm going to go home and suck myself off. All right. What a great night. I thought this was funny. It's a tweet for those who in the know. It's a tweet from Idiot Savant with X-Ray Vision. And they write, if Will Smith watched Ridley Scott's seminal film, The Last Duel, then he would know violence for the sake of defending a woman's honor against a Ridley Scott joke was wrong. That's right. It happened to direct all those things. I thought it was funny. Will Smith and Jada Smith will dress Chris Rock Oscar smack on the red table. And our buddy Rod said, well, I hope Chris is a guest. I don't. I just paid $6,000 for a Chris Rock ticket. And you're going to tell me they worked it out?
Yeah.
Chris Rock's going to tell me, grow up, guys. Puff Daddy got us together. I'd be like,
well, there were people online, I guess, and people have been saying that Chris Rock didn't actually finish his joke because he brought up G.I. Jane, which is so random and like from the past that there's a theory that he was going to continue with the joke and compare her to Demi Moore and the Bruce Willis situation where she left him for a younger guy, or they, went away from him for a younger guy. And the same thing happened with Will Smith.
I think people are trying to write Chris Rock jokes, but that's
maybe. Yeah. Maybe. No. I mean, maybe. It's possible. I mean, why would it? I mean, there's the theory. It's like, why else would he bring up G.I. Jane? I don't know.
But why'd he bring up, hey, I saw Macbeth, and you're like, King Lear has nothing on me. I'm like, don't tell me you wrote in the back.
That's true.
You didn't give a fuck. Before the slap happened, I was kind of upset. at Chris Rock. I'm like, you're not trying. What are you doing? You're not even trying.
Yeah. It's pretty weak, but whatever.
This is probably what's hurting him the most. And we're like, and you weren't funny. What? I just got slapped.
Right.
Yeah, right.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Like, are both people wrong? Yeah, but a lot of not for the reasons you think.
And by the way, recommendation corner, super quick.
Yes,
Mrs. Maisel. What a fucking show. Every episode is the new love of my life. I fucking love it. And it's on topic because what can I say on stage? She was trying to figure out what to say on stage. Lenny Bruce was getting arrested every other second. So let's see how far we came in funny form.
Is it the Gilmore Girls fast talking? Like no one would ever talk?
Actually, I guess it is fast talking, but it's more like
it's the same person. That's why I asked.
Yeah, but it's more like it's Amy Sherman Palladino. I know.
Right.
Apparently, I'm in love with her also because wow, it is fast talking, but I think it's more about the Jewish fast talking. Like I don't know, but they more have like stereotypical Ashkenazi Jew fast talking action.
Gilmore Girls, this 14-year-old would make Copernicus jokes. This Mrs. Maisel, how far back do they go? Moses?
Yeah. Yep. Have you seen it, Keith?
I think I don't know. You ever see that? Like, you don't know. I might have seen parts. I don't know. I never
watched so much stuff. We watch so much stuff now. You're just like, I don't even know if I saw that.
Yeah, that's usually fair when it's coming out of my face. It's surprising when it comes out of Keith's face. And I really want to ask him to watch the first episode for real and maybe the first 3. But I'm so
the first
scared.
3?
Yes, it's so good.
It only takes 3 hours to get in the groove.
No, it's so good. It is a little corny, but it's so good. I love corn. It's so good.
I saw the first season. It's pretty good.
But you didn't continue.
No, it's that good. You don't want to spoil it.
Well, I didn't. I lost my access to the Amazon service.
Oh, who'd you break up with?
This was years ago. I was seeing someone who had Amazon. We watched it, and it was like it was good. It was
Lucy
good.
can't hook you up.
Lucy has better stuff. Now you got
exactly.
HBO,
We're watching
Disney.
better stuff. Yeah, we've been watching better stuff. So I've upgraded in many ways.
Well, I recommend the shit out of this. It's so good. And I'm so upset because I just finished watching all the episodes that are available on Amazon. Yeah.
Right, should we, go ahead. Sorry, Tom.
I was going to say, what are you going to do now with your, it's going to be tough.
I'm going to go slap someone because I'm so upset.
Yeah.
That's fair, right? I'm learning.
All right, let's go over what we learned here. I've got some beautiful letters. And if you know somebody that is in one of these abusive relationships, they can't seem to get out, there's rape, there's beatings, there's all this, recommend our show. They need something, right? Okay, that's fun. Let's see, tour guide, we learned all about that. Tom is insufferable when you hang out with him, but
terrible.
If you're new to a city, you can hire him and you will enjoy it.
Quick story there, since we're running by what we learned. So when Lucy was on about a year or two ago, she mentioned you, Tom, and we were like, oh shit, yeah, definitely. We should have him on. And then separately from that, hanging out with Xerxes, and he's like, look, I found this guy's channel. It's a new, roaming the city. This guy's pretty funny. And I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's great. Wait a minute.
That's funny. That's really funny.
So he found you separately.
That's
and
great.
I just thought that was fun. Yeah. So he's watched a bunch of your videos. Loves them.
Cool. I'm glad.
Yeah. And he was born and raised here.
Oh, great. Yeah. That's always the nicest compliment when people who are born and raised here like the stuff.
Yeah.
Anybody ever correct you on some facts?
I mean, people try to correct all the time. I don't respond to comments. I've made it a point to not. I don't want to roll around in the mud with people, so I don't bother. But
you don't like to start all your sentences with actually.
Yeah, no, I don't bother. If people, it's usually like little details, like pronunciation on something, whatever. But I don't bother. I don't want to get into that. So I don't bother responding and stuff like that.
We learned about being a lawyer. I think I learned everything I need to know. We learned that lawyers are also using the Will Smith slap as a defense because they know that over half of Americans believe that Will Smith was in the right.
Crazy.
That's a picture that's going to last forever, that little slap. Maybe the poll will be if you think he should have to give up his Oscar.
Okay.
I just feel like these weird asterisks are strange. And I want to know who actually won if I went through the dates. But I get exactly what Tom's saying, of course. Kemda has major diseases. Nobody seems to make it a big deal. Let's see. Alec Baldwin is back and bigger than ever. Good for him. And congrats on his family.
Yeah, well, I think he's just so excited that someone overshadowed him or attempted to overshadow him. That he's just like, finally, I'm out of the freaking limelight.
Right.
Out of the spotlight.
Will Smith's apology came to a negative 140. So try better next time on that. Will Smith tickets are $2 million. That's got to be a hell of a fucking show.
Chris Rock
tickets.
Chris Rock. Sorry. I think Will Smith should do stand up. Fuck him.
He did stand up for that show where he brought a bunch of New York comics out and had them teach him how to do stand up in Las Vegas. You never hear that? I don't know.
Is that what that show was about? I remember.
Yeah, it was. I think it was on like Roku.
A bunch of people in our feed was like, I'm secretly doing something with Will Smith. And I think it came out very recently. Yeah. So is that what they were doing? So someone like Christy Cello was on and a few people have been on the show. Yeah. So they were teaching him how to do stand up. Yeah. Oh, so. And then that's his first reaction to stand up afterwards. So do we get to hit him if he tells a bad joke?
Well, he didn't. He was taught how to do stand up. They didn't teach him how to be an audience member. They thought that would be condescending, but it was necessary.
What could they teach him about being anything? He knows everything.
He's also a work in progress, though.
That's true. That's true.
He's fucking shitting on tables. All right. Well, whatever. Today we got to go over the slap part 3.
What?
There's more news.
There's more.
There's even more. First of all, I saw this come into my email feed. Just regular email when I say feed. Peacock, NBC's streaming service. It's all led up to this. Don't miss out on season 1 of Bel-Air.
Saw that too.
Is that funny?
I saw that too. And you know what? Suddenly in my timeline, there's a Chris Rock movie that I've never heard of. And I'm like, is it not supporting if I skip over this right now? And I got to admit, I'm a little curious, but it's zhuzhed up.
Right. It would bother me more if I was Chris Rock after the Will Smith slapping, because guarantee when Bel Air season 2 comes out, they're going to shove something in there where Will Smith's character is going to say he's a work in progress. He'll slap somebody on somebody's behalf and then cry knowing he did the wrong thing. I guarantee that's going to happen.
Oh, I hope not. I don't know that that's the space for it. I feel like SNL can do that and that's appropriate, but that would be weird.
What's going to happen on SNL, do you think? There is a new live one this weekend. Will it be a red table talk and everybody having, or will it be a dinner scene where they show everybody's side? Those are kind of corny.
Xerxes has been having so many thoughts about this, which he's usually not into pop culture, but one of his ideas was that you follow Will like during his day and people have comments to other people, like he overhears people and he slaps them and goes, take my postman's name out your face. And he just goes throughout his day just slapping people that are just relative to where he is.
Right. Then different things pop up. Of course, Paul Rodriguez said when he was on, he performed in Ali. He had a fight with Will Smith over something, and Will Smith kicked him out of the movie. Well, he was in character too. He's Ali. He's going to fight you. Nobody complained when Lincoln was promoting peace at the cafeteria. That's these people's process. But I have a letter here, and Keith and the Girl listener letters. They're not all friendly, Kemda. They're not all nice, and we have to show all sides. Okay. This was sent to me from Boohoo283. And then surprise, surprise, it ends anonymous. The last couple shows have been a round table of white peoples discussing the actions of black people, in many aspects highlighting all of your lack of knowledge and extensive privilege. Example, Kemda's mention that alopecia is a bummer shows her complete lack of understanding of the importance of black hair in our community and how significant losing your hair is. There are literally studies of how hair in the black community is tied to self-esteem and understanding of self. Jada losing her hair and in turn being made fun of it on a national stage in front of millions is a big deal.
Okay. Wow. So I just got hit for having alopecia and
I think somebody just explained alopecia to Kenda who has alopecia. I'm looking at my head right now. I have theories on myself too, but Kenda was diagnosed.
That's a really fucked up thing to say, but okay, let me clarify I'm feeling like it's a bummer. I got to feeling like it's a bummer. This is the best feeling I've had about alopecia. When I first felt bald spots in my head, I cried. I was nervous. I was wondering if I shave it off or put on a wig, but all of that comes from vanity. Otherwise, I would have just let it fall without crying, without mourning it, started thinking of all the tattoos of the people with my hair on the logo, started thinking about my logo and how people are going to change it as memes, as with love, with hate, all of this stuff. My vanity is there. I had to mourn this and got to feeling bummer about it. Hopefully I'll be feeling more okay with it as time goes by, even if I do continue to lose my hair. But my hair is not the same texture. I had to relearn it. I had to figure it out again. It was very difficult to figure out from the beginning. And then I had to not feel bad about combing it is a lot harder, even though there's maybe a third less of it. It's still harder because of the texture of it. And I don't want to stay in the negative about it because I understand that this is one of my health issues and I still somehow have health. So I'm just trying to stay in that space. That does not mean that my hair means less than Jada's hair. It's part of my fucking logo. It's part of what people recognize me as. I look different to myself and maybe not to other people yet, but let me not help you misunderstand what I mean by bummer. I mean, good news. I only feel bummed about it. Okay. It is hard, even though I'm not black.
And I understand the black angle too, of course. And I mean that because I see every movie ever made. So of course I've seen movie about black hair. All right. Come at me knowing I'm at least intermediate level. First of all, how could this be more controversial than the transgender swimmer? I don't know. But here we are. You're acting like Chris Rock said, hey, does the curtain match the drapes? All right, he didn't. He didn't. The Oscars
I asked Xerxes, how would he feel if somebody made fun of my alopecia in that same way? And he said, first of all, if I laughed, then I did laugh. And second, if I said, what if you look over and I'm feeling bummed? He goes, then that's how you're feeling. And I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. We can go from there, but I am not getting up and going to slap someone over it.
Of course. This person continues. The Oscars are not a sacred place to be protected. Who the fuck said they were? Who the fuck said they were? Sometimes we get letters where I'm like, I know you're really reacting to other people's thoughts that you read.
Maybe because
I said the Oscars needs protected. All I said about the Oscars is that it's strange that to take away an Oscar is strange. I'm not protecting the majesty of it. I'm just saying we know who really won, even if they give it to second place. To me, that's where to second place, especially where to third, fourth, and fifth place. That's what I said. I'm not protecting the holy Oscars. And by the way, I have more right to say about the Oscars than anybody because I'm the only one who watched it live. I'm the only person without kids that has cable. I sat there and watched it. You're getting secondhand opinions for the first time you see it.
Well, I don't know if we said it here or in the chat, but I don't mind mentioning that, like, you are getting dressed up to a very fancy event. It's not a boxing match. Is that fair to say? Right. It's out of context for there to be physical assault. And where is the context good for physical assault other than MMA and boxing? And then you don't call it assault.
Right. It'd be funny in MMA fight and then they tell jokes.
Only if it's bad, you hit them.
In fact, the Oscars have displayed a perpetuated great harm to marginalized communities for decades.
For sure. Yeah.
Will Smith slapping someone on stage can be added to the list, but it is by far not the worst. I don't expect either of you or your white guests to even recognize this. Yeah, let me guess. You saw the Native American video that went around where she accepted an award for Marlon Brando. It said Marlon can't make it, but I'm here to say in your movies, this is so long ago, in your movies, if you can start making Native American people look like humans, we would appreciate it. And then Clint Eastwood came on to present after that and said, I'd like to take a moment of silence to think about all the cowboys that died in these movies, and everybody laughed. Yeah, it's disgusting.
It is disgusting. There was a Oscar So White. There was trying to be like a boycotting and just for boycotting the Oscars. Just so you guys know, I've been boycotting the Oscars. Okay, right. I never watch this shit.
Your two shows dedicated to two black men having a disagreement furthers the negative lens of which your audience views the black community, therefore upholding white supremacy.
I don't know that you know who I am. I don't qualify for white supremacy. I don't honestly, like, say my name right and then come at me with all your fucking ideas.
I see an interaction between two black people. I turn away. It's not my place. Not for me. This isn't the first time I noticed your lack of understanding for cultural things, like Keith's review of movies that speak to black culture, and then parentheses, Black Panther. Then don't put movies with an S. And saying he doesn't get the big deal. I didn't say I don't get the big deal of Black Panther. I said Black Panther sucked. Obviously, I get the deal. Kids dressing up in African colors. Of course, I get the big deal. It's just blue balls. Come to mentioning Beyonce's Homecoming, and again, not getting the cultural significance and clues throughout in reference to the sanctity of historically black colleges and universities. As a longtime listener, I could go on.
What did I mention about Beyonce?
You mentioned Beyonce's Homecoming.
What's Homecoming?
I think the video movie? She did, that movie she did, yeah.
What did I say about it?
And not getting the cultural significance of HBCUs. And
that she didn't get the cultural significance, or I didn't?
You didn't, obviously. She did.
I mentioned it without... Okay. I don't know that I remember feeling like I am the person who knows about that.
I respectfully ask that you allow Black issues to be discussed within or with the Black community. This is not your place. Signed, Anonymous. So next time you see something like this and you're white, you go, I don't know what I saw. Not for me. First of all, turn it off halfway. You can watch a Black person by himself, but when a second Black person comes, turn off the TV. It's not for you. I know this person doesn't have opinions about Russia versus Ukraine. There's not a lot of Black people there. I hope you never had a thought on that. Come on. So I couldn't help it. I wrote back. Sounds good, Boohoo Anonymous. Today's guest is Boohoo Anonymous. And by the way, did it not count that we had 2 Black people on last week on Keith and the Girl, Rod and Karen Morrow? Or are they sellouts?
What you mean, like
we didn't talk to Black people. We decided to deliberately not talk to Black people about this.
Oh, we're only talking.
Well, we did.
On
last week on Keith and the Girl, we did. I wrote, this is a lazy letter you wrote. Shame on you. Love, maybe Keith, but I'm not saying.
I don't know that we have to cite our Black friends.
But that's what you're bringing up. You didn't talk about this with Black people on your shows, but we did. It feels like important. The only thing this person wants is us to be talking about Black issues with Black people. We did, but that wasn't good enough for you for whatever reason. Okay. You know, were you mad when I talked about Michael Vick and dog fighting? Even Whoopi Goldberg says it's a Black thing. At least did at the time. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I realize I'm white. Stop it. Stop dog fighting. I didn't take the time to learn about your community that dog fighting's okay. Stop dog fighting. It's fucking disgusting. All races. There, I said it. And then this person wrote back. Oh. Ooh, white fragility at its finest. You sound shook. I didn't explain alopecia. I stated that Hemda said it was a bummer, not accounting for the significance of hair in the Black community. It may be just a bummer for her, but for a Black woman, it's way more than just losing some hair. It's tied to her sense of being. It's her privilege shining to say alopecia is a bummer. I didn't say Keith said Black Panther wasn't important. My intention was to note that he didn't get the cultural cues, hence him thinking it sucked. So if I understood the music more and the colors they were wearing, I would have thought it was good and not dumb the way Black Panther killed the bad guy.
Keith, maybe. First of all, you hate most movies. So I'm not going to argue with you that you would have found this movie fun or anything, or any movie fun for that matter. But you might have missed cultural cues. That's fine.
But I wouldn't have understood. The plot wouldn't have changed in the movie, though.
No, I don't think that you would have enjoyed most movies, including this one. And superhero movies, you somehow think you like, which I don't know that you do. So I don't know. I don't think you like the white characters either. So it's very difficult to tell. Like when you don't like a movie, it could be bias, but like racial bias, but it could also be you don't like movies. You just keep doing it.
Not acknowledging you may have blinders as a white male in America is wildly lazy. Also, the last 2 episodes, Vessels of Love, part 1 and 2, Vessel for Love. Do you even listen when he talked? And said, God gave him that role. Okay. You can get it right. They're with Tom Delgado and Ashley Gavin, neither of which are Black. Those are the episodes I was referring to. Okay. But there is also a 3rd or 4th one. Newsy talked about a little bit, but okay. Let's not refer to those. So again, stop speaking of Black issues without Black people, especially when it can potentially continue the false narrative of extreme Black on Black violence and crime. Know your place and impact in upholding white supremacy. Based on your response, I assume you'll continue to spout your white supremacy, fragility, and pure lack of personal understanding. In my last email, I said respectfully, I take it back. That's not how it works. I already framed the first one, highlighted it and framed it. I take it back. You get no respect. Take the time to educate yourself.
No, I clearly get no respect. I said bummer. I get it. But just so you know, that wasn't my privilege talking. It's not like it didn't hit my self-esteem. I'm trying for it not to hit my self-esteem. It wasn't my privilege. It was, and this is going to sound corny, but it was my practice of gratitude. I keep saying, I'm glad I have some hair. I'm glad I had hair for a while. Whatever I can come up with. And I'm glad that there will be people who love me even if I have no hair. And the fact that I have to say that to myself is just the practice that I'm working on. Don't talk to me about my alopecia.
Right.
Without somebody present that has alopecia next to you while you're typing.
Yeah. Also, I saw Black Panther twice in a theater. If I made a movie, I'd love my kind of non-support. I watched it. It was almost over. And then somebody I was going on a date with, I asked earlier, do you want to see it? As I'm watching the movie, she goes, yeah, I'd love to see it. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. And then I got 2 more tickets later. Okay. You better tell me, Anonymous, you saw it in the theater at least. How dare you? My goodness. I was tempted to write back, wow, these Russian bots are getting good. But instead I wrote back, a lot to take in. Thanks. Now, the news is out that the Academy Awards asked Will Smith to leave.
Wait, do I get to slap this person?
I don't know
or
race
would
can do.
Xerxes have to?
I have to check my race chart.
No, he just made fun of my alopecia. He just decided how to talk about my alopecia. Xerxes, we need someone. We need someone slapped.
So the Oscars said, we asked Will Smith to leave. He refused. I didn't know you can do that, but he refused. And they said, okay. Mr. Smith was asked to leave the ceremony and refused, but we also recognized we could have handled the situation differently. We tried nothing and we're all out of options.
They were talking, we were in the chat this Wednesday night and they were talking about, I think Matt B initially brought it up, that if they were to insist that he leaves, there would be some sort of riot. They have to get back to live television.
Sure.
What do you do when somebody like Will Smith decides not to leave? Do you take him out by force with security? Because he is, but like, will there be too much of a ruckus to get back to it? And the way I see it is like, is that what we're worried about? Is that what we're worried about? We're not worried about Chris being slapped. We're worried about if we have to go back to live television in a little bit. But what kind of chaos will ensue?
The governors of the Academy said that they begun disciplinary actions against the actor. Ooh, no more screeners for 3 calendar years. Nothing happened yet. In fact, they're meeting. The Academy is meeting on April 18th to discuss, do they suspend or expel Will Smith? They got a lot to do right now. Morbius just came out.
They're doing their taxes.
Yeah. Things unfolded in a way we could not have anticipated. I wouldn't have either. I wouldn't have anticipated that. Some A-star on the bottom floor is going to attack the stage.
Also, again, Xerxes had a lot of thoughts about this. He was like, I would sooner think that Meryl Streep would take a shit on the stage before I thought that Will Smith was going to hit Chris Rock.
Yes. Let's see.
But that's because his girlfriend just shit her pants recently. Hey, Anonymous, you want to talk about shitting pants privilege?
Can I end to talk about shitting pants if a black celebrity shits their pants on stage? Things unfolded in a way we could not have anticipated. While we would like to clarify that Mr. Smith was asked to leave the ceremony and refused, we also recognize we could have handled it differently. Disciplinary actions, blah, 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 blah. The Academy and Smith said that Smith will be able to defend himself in a written response before the board meets again April 18th. So he doesn't have to be in person where you can try to figure out if he's full of shit. He has to make a better apology.
What kind of stupidity is that? Wasn't Newsy just talking about this where his father asked him to write things over and over again on a piece of paper in order to be a better human?
Right. I will not have my elbows on the table. I will not have my elbows on the table. I will not have my elbows on the table. Okay. I will not write my apology letter with elbows on my other table. Let's see. So Chris Rock started doing his stand-up tour, coincidentally just started the other day in Boston. And we said how tickets went up. And sometimes when I read the news, I'm always curious, like, is that true? Is somebody on a site that takes advantage of you? But I was just at the Borgata. I saw Chris Rock was going to perform for $40. Then after the slap, I went to Borgata.com, $1,200 a ticket.
I wonder who ups that. Is that the Borgata or Chris's people, you know?
People start calling right away, and maybe there's a computer system. Right,
like a bot that says, hey, if this gets popular, jack it up.
Yeah, maybe. So Chris Rock did not talk too much about this, about the slap. In fact, he said he's still processing. He did joke, how was everybody's weekend? But other than that, he didn't mention it.
Can I say, I love that. I love that. I love that he's not allowing it to dictate his show that he already wrote, and that he knows that his next words about this are going to be loud and clear, and they should be what he actually wants to say, and that he doesn't have to process this in front of us, and that he's still doing a show after being assaulted. I mean,
but if you're paying like $1,200 and you just want to hear 5 or 10 minutes of him talk, I'm just saying, buy a ticket. He said eventually he'll talk about it. Buy a ticket for the end of the tour.
Yes, maybe you can time your shit out right. But if you were going just for the gossip, too bad. You got a show.
And always go for that second show. He might have some liquor in him. You never know. 57 years old, Chris Rock said, "You guys got me all misty and shit," after basking in a nearly 2-minute standing ovation. I don't have a bunch of shit about what happened. I had like a whole show I wrote before this weekend. I'm still kind of processing what happened. So at some point, I'll talk about that shit.
Love it.
Sue him, Chris. Sue him, an audience member yelled out. And Chris said, "So I'm going to tell some jokes. It's nice to be out." Ironically, amid Rock's set, there was an altercation in the back of the orchestra that resulted in a man getting maced and ejected by security guards.
No.
Somebody told somebody to put on a mask, and it became a whole ruckus.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's see. Is this how the entire tour is going to be? Chris Rock said. He apologized. Let's see. Will Smith apologizes for his actions on stage, at first without mentioning Rock, then issued a direct apology to Rock online that, of course, we read in part 2 of the series. And I think it's full of shit. An unruly audience member who interrupted Chris Rock's comedy show on Wednesday was pepper sprayed and arrested after going berserk over the venue's mask policy. The 25-year-old and his father were escorted out, and he was in orchestra seats.
Why were they kicking him out? Did he hit anybody?
No, he said, "I'm not going to wear a mask." And they said, "All right, first of all, quiet down." "No, I'm not going to quiet down." Started yelling. Chris Rock's performing, and they found a way to take him out, believe it or not. When they got him outside, they started attacking the cops, these 2 people, and that's when they had to use pepper spray.
Oh, the person and the person he was with?
And the person's father, yeah. It's funny when it's a family affair, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Now, people, of course, are saying, hey, what is going to happen disciplinary-wise? Do you take back an Oscar? Do you allow him to keep going to Oscars? There are people that were banned from being at the Oscars again. Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, Roman Polanski, a cinematographer named Adam Kimmel, all these registered sex offenders. That's the rule. You can't come back. Also, the very first person to ever be banned was Carmen Caridi. He happened to be in The Godfather. He was banned for giving away screeners. He made VCR copies of movies in 2004, about 60. And he gave them out to friends. And of course, they all came back to him because there's a watermark.
The
Mystic River, Big Fish, this kind of stuff.
The line is sexual misconduct or taking our movies.
Yeah. But now you're on a list of sexual offenders. You're the only one that didn't rape somebody.
Oh, my God.
No, I did screeners. Oh, yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah, that's a bad list to be on.
Yeah.
You always want the title of the list to be on that list if you're on that list.
Yes. Oh, I have it. The SNL idea. Pete Davidson makes out with somebody playing Jada Pinkett Smith.
Wow.
KeithAndTheGirl.com.